in the bouncy house, going bouncy, bouncy.
The story takes place in New York City. Jerry comes to New York. Tom is already here, and they have their first interaction with each other. And of course, it starts this feud that will last through this movie and probably countless other years after this movie. They end up at the same place, a hotel, where our main character, played by Chloe Moritz, is a girl by the name of Kayla. She kind of finagles her way into this job at a hotel. And her one job, or the one thing that she has to do and be successful at when she gets in there, is to get rid of a mouse, and that mouse is Jerry. And she enlists the help of Tom, and together they go off on a adventure in terms of trying to get Jerry out of the hotel. But obviously, madness ensues, and they're sometimes successful, sometimes not. It was something we definitely saw on screen in Australia, so I really jumped at the opportunity to be part of a revival of, they're an institution, but the current generation doesn't know too much about them, I feel. I have young nieces and nephews that aren't really watching Tom and Jerry, so this film would be a great way to introduce them back into their lives.
Well, I think there's something hilarious about their slapstick comedy. I mean, they're trying to, it's kind of like the Three Stooges. They're all trying to kill each other in a lot of ways, on accident sometimes and on purpose in others. And at the end of the day, I think it's what you really see in our movie, is that these two are in some way obsessed with each other. They're best friends in a lot of ways.
The hallmark of Tom and Jerry, and and those characters have been in existence for decades, and you really see an arc of cat and mouse. You see, for lack of a better word, like a sibling rivalry, and so there is a lot of competition and intense emotions and antagonism, but at the end of the day, they are working together for a common goal.
When I first actually met with Tim Story, our director, one of the coolest things he told me in the very beginning was that it's this almost alternate universe. So you're in New York City. It seems like New York City. It looks like New York City, but then if you look in the background, the blue sky is a little shaded with hand-drawn, and the leaves are a little hand-drawn, and every animal in the world, be it a fish on the plate that someone's about to eat, is a hand-drawn fish. So there's this kind of element of fantasy within the realm of reality, which gives you an interesting escape.
What's interesting about this movie and why it's a little bit different is that we got actual puppeteers. Normally when you do a movie like this, you have tennis balls and you have to try to react to one of them. We have some really talented puppeteers.
It's animation in a live action universe, and so I get to work with an amazing director and friend in Tim Story. I also get to make new friends and working with people like Michael, Pallavi, Chloe, Colin, Rob Delaney. It's such an amazing cast to be a part of. So again, I really haven't been in a movie like this that synthesizes these elements in a cartoon that I grew up on and loved.
We're bringing Tom and Jerry to the big screen in a way you've never seen before. We're making a hybrid movie that basically takes their old animation style, and we're putting it in a modern New York City.
Do you think you're qualified to take on this position?
I shine under pressure, like a diamond. Or Rihanna.
One other thing. We have a mouse problem.
With the what now?
What I love about this story is the way in which they both find their human side, and they see that friendship, love, relationship sort of, trumps all. And at some point, they set aside their own differences to help Kayla, who they realize is the good-natured person in the whole picture. And that's what I like, that they save the day, yet they keep that kind of chaotic instinct alive, even until right at the end. I mean, the last words of the script are, and Tom and Jerry chase each other around forever and evermore. They are incredibly human in their values, which is very cute.
Kind of the moral of the story is that if you have Tom and Jerry, and then you have the real life Tom and Jerry, which are basically me and Terrence, me and Michael Pena, and I'm more the Jerry and he's more the Tom, and if they can end up working together, the real cat and mouse, why can't we. And so it's a good kind of human tale.
Look, I'm excited to bring this to the big screen. We've never seen these characters inside the real world, and to see them destroy and run around and fight with one another, you're basically going to be looking at a live cartoon, you might say, a live episode of Tom and Jerry in many ways and forms. So I'm excited that I get a chance to bring this. This is a childhood dream come true. I grew up on these cartoons. I made sure that we stay true to what they are. We're not holding back on the action of it all. We're not. You're going to hear the sounds, and you're going to see them run around and destroy stuff like they would in any episode of Tom and Jerry. And I'm hoping the audiences love it.
We will be ruined.
No, sir, that's not going to happen. That rodent is toast.
Everybody in the bouncy house for a bouncy, bouncy now.
Tim's story, it's amazing. It's, what's amazing to me is that there's guys that are really good at drama. There's guys that are really good at like independent film, and that's what they love. And then there's big movie directors like Tim Story. He's like a big movie director who, even if he's like nervous or, like there's something that's worrying him, he doesn't show it. And everything is easy peasy with this guy. He knows what he's like. He knows when he has it. Sometimes we only do 2 takes, and sometimes we do takes until we get it. And I guess just the kind of person that he is, it doesn't add any pressure on set.
Tim sets the stage in a way that is really open and really safe, and there's never a no, you can't do that, or no, that's not right. It's always yes and, yes and, yes and. And so you kind of end up really thinking on your feet and going too big sometimes, but at least they have it in the bag in case they want to use it.
The movie's been, it feels like a vacation to do this movie. It's really, like the cast is fantastic. Tim, our director, is great. We have a lot of fun on set. There's a lot of things that come up on set that people just make me laugh and on set, and then that stays in the movie, which is great.
The best part about working on this film is definitely the fact that I get to act with stuffed animals and cardboard cutouts of animals. And other than that, obviously the human actors have been a joy to work with. I think just the ensemble that we have in this film has been really phenomenal, and the thing that I've enjoyed the most so far.
If I have to describe the movie in one word, it's fun. I think it's just it. If you love Tom and Jerry like I did, and like the world does, those are the stars of the movie, and that's really all you really have to say. We're all just inhabitants and supporting players of that world, and to me, I just can't wait to see everything synthesized together. So it's an amazing director, an amazing script, obviously iconic characters, and it's an amazing cast. So it really is a lot of fun.
I think we love these characters because when it comes to humor and just the history of, say, slapstick comedy, physical comedy, all of that, they just embodied that. And I think there's no kid that doesn't like 2 characters beating up each other and throwing stuff at each other. And I think that's what makes them just so endearing over years, over decades, that they're it just transcends time. It transcends history. And I think anytime you watch these cartoons, even me getting back into them, they just make you smile.
Well, they're definitely universal because my father, who grew up in India, said to me that at his college campus in IIT New Delhi, they used to project Tom and Jerry cartoons on the big screen and the communal cinema screen that they had outdoors. So if grown men in the 70s are watching Tom and Jerry in New Delhi, it's definitely reached various generations, ages, and cultures.
Yeah. And the way we're going to keep them true to the original is basically let them beat each other up. We're going to let them run around and do a lot of the things that you're used to seeing Tom and Jerry do. We've sometimes talked a lot about how the violence of this movie, or I guess you might say the action of this movie, is going to stay true to what these characters have always done. They've always run around, beat each other up. Who gets more from who beats up more of the other. We'll figure that out as you see the movie, but we're definitely staying true to what you and everybody knows Tom and Jerry to be.
It's a really beautiful story about working together and learning each other, but it also has all the really fun slapstick comedy that you'd expect, not just out of Tom and Jerry, but out of the human actors too. And to expect a good family-friendly ride. I think I might have just pulled this off.
Really?
We blowing up the whole thing. Everybody in the bouncy Ralphie.